This video will show how to use the switch statement in Java. So for this example, I'm going to start with a program that is a simple calculator. And see the source code here, that's the whole thing right there. And let's compile this and execute it. The idea is to put in two numbers and then select from a menu, all right, just by saying the first letter, A, S, M, or D. All right. So I'll run this and enter the first value 4 and the second value 5. Right. And now we have to pick what we want to do with those numbers. So we want to add them. Right. And the output shows the two numbers that we input, a symbol for the operation that we selected, and then the result. And run it again, give different numbers, and do a different operation, say subtraction, and 17, 23, multiply, right? Or just to show all four operations, let's say 25 and 3 divide. So that's the operation of the program. See, here's the introductory message, the opening message. Declare a scanner. These 4 lines, this fragment here, inputs the two values. And notice that you can put in an integer even if you're asking for a double, but not the other way around. All right. Then, once we've got the two numbers, we get the user's choice for what they want to do. All right, so this is the prompt. It goes on 2 lines. All right, this is one statement that's producing 2 lines of output because there's a new line character right in the middle of it. This right-hand side here is how you would get just the first character of something that you type, right? Because the next method, the next scanner method, gets a string. And a string and a character are different. All right, if I only want the first character, I've only said the words here to make it like a nice menu. All right, then .char at 0 attached, to the keyboard .next will take just the first letter of what you type. All right, so I store that into a character variable. And now I have 2 variables that I have to set. Right? I have to have a result, obviously, of the operation, whatever I'm trying to do. And then because I want to print the equation at the end, I need a character variable for the operation. Right? So the opchar. All right, so there's 4 possibilities. If the user choice is an A, okay, well then the operation I perform is to add, and I assign that to the result, and I put a plus sign in the character variable. Else, if the user, the first thing that the user typed is S, okay, well then I subtract and put a minus sign in the character variable. Likewise, when the first character is M, I multiply and put a star, or finally, all right, if it's a D, I divide and put a slash, a fraction bar, in the character variable. And then finally there's a print statement that puts it all together, right, and shows the original 2 inputs with the operation between them and the result at the end. And put a blank line in front of it, right, to separate it out from the input. Spaces between things, and an equal sign at the end. All right, so this is a very common sort of structure, right, to choose from a menu and then do, one operation or maybe a couple of operations related to that choice, right, in a series. When you have that, there's a cleaner way to accomplish it, right? Notice that I've got an if statement and I'm using the exact same variable in each if statement. That's not terribly uncommon. But I'm also comparing for equality. I'm just looking for one exact value in each branch. Well, we can do this. Another way to do this is with a switch statement. Okay, and it's a different kind of statement. It doesn't use the word if. So I'm going to replace this if block here with a switch statement. Right, so as this first step here, right, I selected the if statement, and then I commented it out. Right? Command slash comments it in, comments it out. It's a way to block out code. All right, now I'm going to write a block of code above it that does the same thing. All right, so I'm going to say switch statement starts with switch, and whatever variable I'm comparing all the way down, that's what goes in parentheses after the word switch. Okay. Then I'm just going to have one set of braces for all the cases, and instead of writing a comparison, I just put the word case, and then the value that's going to trigger that case. So case A and a colon. And now I can do whatever I need to do in that case. So in this case, in case it's A, I want to do that. And that. And when you finish all the actions you want to take in that case, put the word break and start the next case. Right, so my next case is S and a colon. And then I can just copy and paste at this point. Right, and then make the changes that are necessary. So when I want to subtract, right, I'm going to do that, and my character is a minus sign. When it's M, I'm going to multiply and make it a star. When it's D, use a slash, and then my character is a slash. All right, so this is going to execute the same way as the chained if statement. All right, so the way this reads is switch on user choice. So whatever the value of user choice is, you're going to execute one of these branches. In case it's A, okay, you're going to do these things and then break. And the break statement sends control to the closed brace. And notice that you don't have braces around each branch like you do with the chained conditional. Right, so break sends you to the closed brace. So what happens is the system will look for the first case that's true, and then just start there. All right, so when case M is true, it's going to do this statement, this statement, this statement, and this statement sends it to the end. And then it'll print. All right, so let's look at that. And the first value, 4.5. And second value maybe is 5.3. And I want to add. A for add. There we go. 4.5 plus 5.3 is 9.8. Exactly what we'd expect. We'll try the other operations. Let's say 3, 7, multiply. We enter a letter that's not recognized. It's going to happen. Let's say 3, 2, Q, whatever that is. All right, well, Q doesn't do anything. All right, so all of the branches are skipped. All right, so I had a 0 in result and a blank in operation chart character. So my output is just this. So there's a way to handle that. What you can do is have a default case. And default will execute if none of the other branches are true. All right, so we can say, in this case, just print a message. Invalid selection. Uh, 3, 4, S for subtract gives me the subtraction. 3, 4, Q or X, invalid selection. Please run the program again. So a nice feature of the switch statement is that you can have multiple options for one set of statements. For example, let's run this again without recompiling and say I put in my two values and I put a capital A instead of a lowercase a. Okay, well I don't have a specific case for capital A. All right, so I get the invalid selection output. We can remedy that by just adding it, and we don't have to copy this at all. I can just put case capital A, oops, single quotes, and a colon right next to it. So recompile that, and let's say 4, 5, capital A. Now it does the right thing, right, because it recognizes it. All right, so I can make the whole program case insensitive, to where you can use uppercase or lowercase for these things. All right, and that's much easier to do in a switch statement than in chained conditional, because you'd have to do something like this. You'd have to say or user choice equals capital A. You'd have to spell out each option explicitly. You couldn't just add, you can't just tack it on. All right, so so now I can use uppercase letters and get all the right things. What if I say first value, send value, and then I enter the actual operator, or the plus sign? Okay, well that's an easy mistake to make. Type a plus sign when you want to add. You don't ordinarily think A for add, you think plus sign. Okay, but that's an invalid selection. Well, I can just fold that into the mix and say, okay, well, if they sort of misread the instructions and type the operation instead of a letter, we can make that work either way. So first value 4, 5, and a plus. 3, 4, and a star, and a multiply. So now you have a much more flexible program. All right, and you see how to take multiple triggers for the same case.